Hey guys, today I'm doing a review on the latest first episode of Married at First Sight Unmatchables. I'm just gonna jump right into it. The first thing I zeroed in on is that there's 75,000 people who've applied, I guess in history or in general, to be on the show. And I was like, oh, I mean, one thing, everyone, or I'd assume, wants to be married at some point, but that's just staggering amount, of people. I was like, okay. But for this show specifically, each week, Pastor Cal and Dr. Viviana are gonna take two Unmatchables, meaning people who just have these quirks or cons about them, and it kind of just makes the dating life kind of hard for them, and they just need the extra assistance, and they're essentially not ready to get married yet because, again, the cons need to be worked on, and their specific issues make sure they're dateable and matchable by the end of this. The show just looked like chaos, and I am here for it. The first girl of the season, or the show, series, things like that, her name is Ashley, and her quirk/con, she farts a lot everywhere without any remorse at all. And I'm just thinking it's strange that she's comfortable enough to say it, record herself doing it, have it on TV for people to see if it does not work on here. I don't know, it was just very different, and I'm not used to that. And she also mentioned she's been celibate for 11 years. Not saying that's a bad thing about her, but that's just one of her things that is her. And just because also she hasn't been in a relationship since high school. She's in her 30s. She has not kissed since then either. So she does not know how to kiss, but she is ready to get married somehow. I said, okay, let's just see how this goes. But the show specifically listed her quirks as frequent farter, codependent roommate, and sexually inhibited. Yeah, her and her roommate are a little bit too close in the sense that they are connected at the hip, will go on dates with each other in the sense that they're there when the date's going on. They're probably calling each other during the date. It's just, you need a little bit of separation, because if you're gonna get married, that's just not gonna fly. It just wouldn't work. The guy that we see that is paired with her essentially is Octavius, and I was confused by his first tape of him walking to the girl and asking her what she was wearing. I'm like, was that a fake tape? Was this just something that they caught? I was just like, I was just kind of reading into a lot. But apparently he loves a girl with a good scent, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I love smelling good, and I would love someone to let me know I smell good too. But maybe it's just weird or annoying if someone just randomly walks up to you and you don't know them. They just mention your scent. I'm like, okay, back off a little bit. He is not a fan of voluptuous women. If that's just not what he likes, it's not what he likes. But I was like, why do you have to add that in there? You could have just moved on. That's the only little thing where I was like, okay, but apparently he's nitpicky, detail-oriented, particular on time, and I'm like, those are not that bad. But I guess if it's controlling and in your face and kind of ruins relationships, okay, I guess he needs to tone it down a little bit. But those specific things are not too bad. I love a little routine in my life. I don't like to be stressed out, bombarded, but I also do things spontaneously, and he does not. The show listed his quirks as controlled by routine, judge on physical appearance, and more comfortable around dead people. I was like, is he? I just thought it was his occupation, but I'm gonna keep it pushing. When Pastor Cal showed up to Ashley's house, he had to question if Ashley and her roommate would be able to separate, and if she found a husband. They just struggled entering that alone. I was like, we have a lot to work on. On another hand, homegirl was open, was like, I don't like kissing, and I just feel like it just has to do with the fact that she hasn't kissed anyone in a long time. Not that, maybe she doesn't know how. I'm not gonna speak for her, but maybe it's just been a long time, so you're not comfortable versus you don't know how. But so after Pastor and Doctor finished working on Ashley, should be going on a blind date at the end of the week. I said, yeah, I guess a week's enough time. 2 weeks could have been good, but this is the show. That's the purpose of it. Dr. Viviana showed up at Octavius' house, and homeboy was being nitty-picky once she walked in. I said, to be honest, I don't think it's a bad thing that he cares about his personal hygiene. He brushes his teeth, mouthwash, washes the face, moisturize, cleanliness, but the controlling routine's a little bit much, because he's like, I don't like to do things if this routine doesn't happen. I'll be stressed out if I don't wash my face a certain amount of time. That's a bit much. Just saying, when you can do it, you can do it, but the fact that it stresses him out. But the doctor called him out for being unmatchable, and homeboy was mad disappointed. But then the next morning, or it looked like it was the next morning, Pastor Cal showed up to Octavius' house unexpected. Not the time he said he was going to. I think he was probably going to show up in the afternoon, but he showed up first thing in the morning, and homeboy was confused, didn't have a chance to do his morning routine, pick out his outfit, no insight to where he was going, nada. So I know his brain was scrambled due to that. The pastor blindfolded him, took him in the car, and was driving him to the destination. I don't really know where I thought he was going to go other than a makeover of some sort, and I was right. The pastor took him to a barber. And the intent was to break him out of his need to be in control all the time, and I'm screaming because I expected it. I was just like, a hair? Not saying his hair is bad, but I was where else would he take him that makes sense? It's a surprise or something. He tried to scare him by saying he's gonna give him a bald haircut or spontaneous haircut or something, but he's like, nah, we're just taking your hair, and you didn't know about it. So he was stressed. Anyways, Dr. Viviana took Ashley to a sex/intimacy shop. And the doctor is trying to get her to be in touch with her sensual side and buying sexy clothing pieces. Like, she also pulled up a random molded mouth lips for Ashley to practice, and I felt uncomfortable listening to her attempt to kiss that thing. It was just like a lot of amplified noises just to be like funny, but I was like, this is a little gross to me. Later, Dr. Viviana took Octavius to a spa to get a massage and unwind and relax. At first, I was kind of confused the purpose of this exercise. Like, okay, he's getting a massage, he's getting like the good end of the deal. But the exercise, that his eyes were closed with a towel, or like covered with a towel, so he doesn't see anything. Cause like, I guess, I'm not gonna say senses. Like, if he sees somebody, he's gonna judge them. If he sees someone, he's gonna prejudge and like think something. So the purpose was to cover his eyes and have him have a female masseuse that is having a conversation with him, see if the conversation goes well, and then that he doesn't have to prejudge someone by looks if they can have a good conversation and like have good banter conversation. So they were actually like really talking and stuff. But then what I saw, she's a bigger woman. She's voluptuous, as he said. So I'm like, oh God. Like, this is what he said he doesn't like, so what does that mean? And when she came out, my Lord, this man is disrespectful. He couldn't even look her in his, like, he couldn't look her in the face. I said, my God, like, his smile fell off his face. I said, this is too much. This is so awkward. I feel sorry for the girl because they essentially put him in an environment to, like, not prejudge her, then bring her out knowing he would judge her. And then I'm at, like, it's just weird. Like, I don't know how much you had to pay me to go on there and just be judged, because that's the thing, he doesn't like women in that shape, but whatever. So after we leave his little segment, we see Ashley get ready for her blind date, and we think it's with Octavius. And at first I was confused because she's like, oh, my roommate's coming along. I said, you were in your 30s. I don't know if an age is a deciding factor, but that is so embarrassing. Like, also, way in the beginning, the pastor said you cannot bring her on the date, because obviously there's that whole dependency situation. But the fact that he told her, and I just don't think it's appropriate to bring your friend on the date. Not saying she was gonna sit with them, but just like be behind her, because she literally sat behind her in the booth despite the cameras being there. And she's like, I'm coming with her, she's gonna be there with me. I'm like, you guys are grown. This is not acceptable. Like, this is so cringeworthy. But she came regardless. The pastor said that he knew, and it was a test to see if she'd actually bring her or not, which she did. So the pastor pulled up, she's like, oh, this is weird. Like, yeah, I kind of figured you bring her, and I told you not to, but due to this, we're gonna have you guys tied together. So they had like a rope on their ankles. So imagine there's booths, they're back to back, and their ankles are tied. So it's like fine, right? The date comes on the other side, and Pastor Calvin and Viviana are saying that the date was in on, in a sense, like a joke wise. Like, so he knew that she'd bring the girl, but like was trying to play around that he didn't know. So eventually, as they're having a conversation, the girl sitting right behind her, the date told Ashley to come sit on his side. Obviously, you can imagine that it was difficult because her ankle was tied to the other girl. So she got up, I was laughing because their ankles had to kind of move to try and see if she could do it. She couldn't. And she's like, hey, can you come on this side? But like, as they were there, it was just very embarrassing because when he tried to move over and stuff, they couldn't. So then when he came on her side, he was like, okay, I'm just gonna ask, like, what is up with this? Cause I know like he's an actor for it. He's like, if this isn't real life, I would have walked out. Like, this is embarrassing. And the girl turns around like the friend, I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, like, we do this all the time. Sorry about my voice. Like, we do this all the time. And like, it's to help if like a date's like creepy or something. Like, no, you're creepy. No. And she's like, we don't really go on dates anyway, so like this doesn't happen often. I said, oh my God, like speak for yourself. I'm pretty sure. And okay, it's just so embarrassing. That was probably like the most cringe part. One of the two. There's a second point that got really, really bad. But eventually, Ashley was like, okay, now I've learned my lesson. Now I know I'm never gonna take her on a date with me. Like, nah, it's not happening. I said, no, this shouldn't even have, you're grown. I know I'm like focusing on this, but it really pissed me off. And then to round out the whole episode, the date finally happens and she was late. I mean, she was 6 minutes late, but still, if you say I'm gonna be there at 5, I'll be there at 4:59, 4:55, just to make sure I'm early. But she was like a couple minutes late, and that's his thing, that he doesn't like people being late. So I didn't know if it was a setup, but it was her in her Uber getting there eventually, and I thought it was an accident, but no, she was late. And when she came in, he was like, you're late. I said, homeboy's getting to the point. I said, oh shit. And she was not about it. She was like, I should call my friend to pick me up or something. I said, oh God, like, yeah, it's rude. No one likes people who are late. And it wasn't that dramatic, but the fact like he said it out loud too, that's just him apparently. But I was like, okay, the date's going on, and then she farted. Like, why? Why'd she do that? And then like, God. And he was like, that was weird, ew, ew, ew. And she's like, it's me, move on. I was like, okay, because we're gonna move on then. And then the date kind of went on. They're actually having a good conversation. Also, again, she is a little bit like voluptuous in the sense like that's not what he likes, but yet they were having a good conversation. What pissed me off? The third time, I said there's 2 times. The first time was the friend going on the date. The second time was her farting on her first date. The third thing, her friend called like 3+ times, at least due to what production showed us. It looked like it was at least 3 times. If they're as connected as they are and they've been filming, she knew she was on a date, so why did she call her? And multiple times. Also, I don't know why her phone was set to that ring situation where it flashes and it was on loud and it was on the tape. You should have put it in your phone or in your purse, sorry. Like, I was pissed that she called so many times. I'm sure it was more than once. I don't know if production can make it seem like it was more, because he was just kind of like, why does it keep ringing? She put it away and they continued to have a conversation, and then she brought out the little lips that the doctor gave her. I said, girl, why are you bringing this out? But I guess like he's gonna see this later on and understand that like it was part of like the exercise and to learn it, because like she's celibate and she has a kiss no one. He understood that. He's like, okay, like I'm not gonna judge you for that. I can expect you for telling me being open. I'm like, why'd you bring it out at the bar? But they're at a bar, by the way, for the date, and she was like, hey, do you want to go dance? And he was like, oh fuck, this is out of my comfort zone. I normally know what I'm gonna do. I'm not spontaneous, but also doesn't know how to dance. But they went and danced, and it was actually like cute. Like they were dancing, and like the height was right. They were doing some spinning, doing some stuff, and then they kissed. Like actually, like despite them having their quirks and looking a little bit different in the sense, like I don't know if I thought they would like go for each other. It was good, and they kissed, and he's like, let me have a little breath check. He's like, her breath was phenomenal. Besides like alcohol, which we were drinking, but it was good. I said, this man's comical. Yeah, he's comical. But they kissed, they had dance, they had like a nice date, exchanged numbers, apparently went on the second date according to the end of the episode. I'm curious if like we see them again later on, or like each week it's a different couple and then we just move on and forget about it. But overall, it was cute and funny. I mean, I have no complaints besides what I was complaining about in the episode about the people, but I liked it. So let me know what you think of this review, at the season series, and see you in the next video. Bye!